On Sunday, Manchester City hosted Chelsea and absolutely destroyed them by 6-0. There were 4 main tactical reasons for this. 2 were great improvements from Guardiola compared to the last time these two teams met, and 2 were shortcomings from Sarri's Chelsea. Let's start with the lineups. City started in their usual 4-3-3 shape with Zinchenko as a left back. Chelsea also played their usual system with Barkley being preferred over Kovacic. The first big thing that Guardiola improved on compared to the 2-0 loss at Stamford Bridge was City's defensive shape. During the previous game, this would often happen. City's winger would try to take out the passing lane to Chelsea's midfielder, who would then move to the side of the field to get free. Here you see 2 moments from the previous game in which Conte gets free by moving to the side of the field. This time, City pressed in a 4-3-2-1 shape, with Bernardo and Sterling in a split position between the fullback and midfielder. De Bruyne or Gundogan would press the central defender, while the other one would go to Jorginho. City's fullback would press the midfielder when he moved to the side. And here you can see Bernardo and Sterling in split positions between the fullbacks and central midfielders. De Bruyne is pressing David Luiz, Gundogan goes to Jorginho. Or on the other side, De Bruyne goes to Jorginho and Gundogan to Rudiger. Sterling and Bernardo are again in split positions. Here Barkley moves to the side of the field and Walker steps through to press him. And here Conte moves to the side of the field as Zinchenko steps up to press him. The second very important change Guardiola made was putting his fullbacks in lower positions. In the first game, City would constantly position themselves behind the Chelsea midfielder that started pressing. However, City could hardly exploit this as there wasn't enough space to reach them. This time, City would do the same thing. However, now the fullback would fall back to take the Chelsea winger with them, opening up more space for the midfielder. And here you can see Zinchenko who falls back and pulls Pedro with him, which creates enough space to reach Gundogan. Walker falls back and Hazard has to choose between leaving De Bruyne or Walker free. The first, third and fourth goals all started with City being able to exploit this space. City are able to reach De Bruyne in this space behind Barkley. De Bruyne is tackled, which results in a free kick, from which City score the first goal. Here Zinchenko pulls Pedro to the side, which allows Aguero to receive between the lines, which results in another free kick. And let's not say too much about this. Pedro again goes to Zinchenko, which allows City to find Aguero between the lines, which eventually results in Gundogan scoring the 4th goal. The third important point was that Chelsea's pressing was way off. Chelsea wanted to have Higuain take out the pass to the other side. Chelsea's midfielder on the side of the ball would then press the central defender. Jorginho would go to City's ball-sided midfielder, and Chelsea's opposite midfielder would go to Fernandinho. And here you can see Chelsea's pressing. Barkley goes to the central defender, Jorginho to De Bruyne and Conte to Fernandinho. And here on the other side, Conte pressing, Jorginho to Gundogan and Barkley to Fernandinho. However, most of the time this didn't work, simply because the spaces were too big to cover all the time. One of the things that City would often do was dropping De Bruyne, as Barkley now had to choose between staying with Fernandinho or going to De Bruyne. Therefore, Barkley moves a bit to De Bruyne, and both he and Conte are too late to press Fernandinho. And this happened a lot throughout the match. Here, Barkley should have gone to Fernandinho. He's gone to De Bruyne, which is too far away from Fernandinho. And here Fernandinho is free again. The distance is just way too big for Jorginho or Conte to cover. This was also how City scored the second goal. Conte should have been closer to Fernandinho. Fernandinho is able to receive the ball and find Aguero. And then Aguero scores an absolute banger to put them up by 2 goals. The fourth and final point was that Chelsea's build-up just wasn't good enough. Both Luiz and Rudiger took too long on the ball, while Alonso also really struggled to contribute anything on the left, but he was the only player there as Hazard moved inside. Because of the way City pressed, there was often space in the midfield for Chelsea, but they hardly exploited this. City would fall back a bit and allow Luiz time on the ball. Here he could have exploited the space in the middle to find Higuain. Just outside the screen, Higuain makes himself available in the gap, but Luiz again doesn't play the ball. This was one of the few times Luiz did manage to exploit the space. In City's own half, they mainly fell back into a 4-1-4-1 shape. However, Chelsea wasn't able to play this block apart, as too much was asked of the players who couldn't contribute much attacking-wise. Therefore, Chelsea often played balls in behind, and got dangerous when they reached Higuain. Here, Jorginho looks to exploit the space in behind. Jorginho finds Higuain, and Higuain holds onto the ball and creates a chance for Pedro. And here is an example of Chelsea playing the ball in behind while better options would have been available. So, to summarise, there were 4 important points that helped City win. The first one was Guardiola having his fullbacks press Chelsea's wingers when they moved onto the side. The second one was that City's fullbacks were in lower positions to create more space in midfield. The third was that Chelsea's pressing was off, as the spaces were too big for them to cover. And the fourth and final point was that Chelsea's build-up play just wasn't good enough, as they asked too much of players who couldn't contribute much to the attacking. Anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It always helps out massively. As always, all the links you need are in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.